Imagine you are floating in the black water of a prehistoric ocean. It is night and you can't see anything, but you feel it. A heavy, rhythmic current pushes against your chest. This is Shoniosaurus. It is a reptile. It is related to the lizard in your garden, but it weighs as much as a Boeing 737. And the terrifying part is, in this ocean, it's not an unusual thing of nature, it's average. We look at our modern oceans and see the blue whale as the king, but the blue whale is a lonely outlier. In the deep past, giganticism wasn't the exception. It was the rule. So why did nature once build monsters like a factory line? And more importantly, why did it stop? We usually assume that in nature, bigger means better. We think the T-Rex and the Megalodon ruled the world because they were huge. But biologically speaking, being big is actually a nightmare. Think about it. A massive body needs massive amounts of fuel. It makes you slow, it makes reproduction difficult, and it turns you into a gigantic target. In the game of survival, being small, fast, and efficient is almost always the smarter bet. So a prehistoric ocean filled with 20-meter predators isn't a success story. It's a paradox. Something in that ancient water was forcing them to grow against their best interests. To understand why, we have to look at the invisible force that is holding you down right now. On land, gravity is a law. If you get too big, your legs snap. There is a mathematical limit to how large a land animal can get before it crushes itself. But in the ocean, gravity is just a suggestion. Water is dense. It provides buoyancy, an upward force that cancels out gravity. For a creature like Mosasaurus, the ocean acts like a permanent zero-gravity chamber. This explains how they could get big without collapsing, but it doesn't explain why. The real engine driving this growth was heat. Water sucks heat away from the body 25 times faster than air. Think of it like this. A cup of coffee cools down in minutes, but a bathtub full of hot water stays warm for hours. This is called gigantothermy. Big bodies hold on to heat. By growing impossible sizes, these reptiles turn their bodies into biological furnaces. They could hunt in the deep, freezing, dark places where smaller prey were too cold to move. They weren't just big for power. They were big because they were freezing. So we have the physics, now we need the motive. Why build a tank if you don't have a war? In the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods, the ocean floor was an all-you-can-eat buffet. Plankton exploded. Small fish multiplied in the billions. But the prey started fighting back. Creatures like Dunkleosteus evolved heads encased in biological concrete. To crush that armor, predators needed bigger jaws. To wield bigger jaws, they needed massive muscles. To support those muscles, they needed colossal bodies. It was an evolutionary feedback loop. Prey got tougher, predators got bigger. So the prey became giants themselves. Meet Leedsichthys, a fish the size of a modern whale. It didn't grow that big by choice. It grew that big because anything smaller was just a snack. The ocean became a high-stakes casino. The buy-in was tonnage. If you couldn't weigh in at 5 tons, you weren't a player. You were the chips. But there is a catch, a fatal flaw in the design of monsters. We look at a megalodon jaw and see power. Nature sees a liability. A 60-ton predator is a calorie addict. It needs to eat a staggering amount of food just to keep its eyes open. When the ecosystem is booming, the giants live like kings. But ecosystems are fragile. An asteroid hits, a volcano erupts, the plankton die. A small shark can survive on scraps for months. A scavenger can eat the dead. But the giants? They starve. The very adaptation that made them gods, their size, became their coffin. They cannot downsize. They cannot hibernate. They simply run out of fuel. The prehistoric oceans were full of giants because the conditions were perfect. A Goldilocks era of heat and food. But the moment that thermostat changed, the giants were the first to fall. The ocean is quieter today. The monsters are mostly gone, replaced by efficient, mid-sized hunters. The blue whale remains, a ghost of a time when the sea had no ceiling. But remember, it only survives because it eats the smallest things alive. We look back at the Mosasaurus with fear. We imagine how scary it would have been to swim with them. But the truly scary thought isn't that they existed, it's how they vanished. Nature spent millions of years building the perfect killing machines, and in the blink of geological time, it wiped them off the board. It turns out, in the long game of survival, the crown doesn't go to the strongest, it goes to the most efficient.